Well, hello students. Today we'll have part 2 with Dr. Pressman. That will be at the end of the show. And, of course, we're going to be talking more about birds. In particular, more about their territories. I'm going to start, though, with talking about where do birds live. All birds build nests for their eggs. And I thought, why don't I try to build a nest? I could help out a bird. So, I've gathered the materials: plant roots, grasses, animal fur, some nice fluffy dry leaves, moss, strips of bark, and sticks. These are all things that birds would use. Oh, and very important, I have some mud. So here's my bird nest. I'm pretty proud of it. It's got a nice cup shape here. It has some nice fur for keeping the eggs warm. It's got mud on the bottom. I'm going to be pulling it out here. Right here. There we go. Well, I think I did a pretty good job. Birds should be happy with that. All right. It's not that easy to build a bird's nest, but birds do it all the time. This is a robin's nest. This one's an amazing nest. This is from a Baltimore Oriole, and this is made to hang from a tree. And it's basically a bag, all made of the same kind of plant fiber. And they use their beak to push the fibers in and out, and they just start to make knots. Now this one seems pretty flimsy. But it's super soft. It has lots of, looks like rabbit fur, some mosses on the bottom, and it's super warm. But it's not very strong. So how did this one hold up? Well, this is the kind of nest that you might find in a tree cavity. A tree isn't completely hollow, partially hollow. And there are 35 birds in Minnesota that need to nest in tree cavities. So here I am at a new friend's house. Her name is Cora, and she's a science teacher too. And she's got something really cool on the door of her house. So we're going to take a look at what it is.
Hey everybody, we have a house finch nest on our door, and it's nested in the wreath up here.
So this nest is amazing. It's really well hidden.
The land was defended and won by age-old ceremonies and fierce battle. Their conflicts with each other and with their neighbors, their luck with wives and devotion to their babies, the fortunes of their sons and daughters, grandchildren and great-grandchildren, all were watched season in and season out, until tragedy overtook them.
That dramatic paragraph was the intro to a book written almost 100 years ago. Her name was Margaret Morris Nice. She was highly educated. She had gone to Harvard. Birds were her passion, and she was a pioneer in the study of songbirds. She observed that they were very territorial, and in one small park, there were 44 males. She used colorful plastic bands around their legs. And she was able to keep track of all 44 males. She mapped their territories. And as you can see on this map, it's very orderly. I think that's fascinating. So we're going to do a little bit with bird territories today. And I'm even going to attempt to map the territory of one type of bird called the nuthatch. I'll tell you more about it, but first, let's go outside by my bird feeder. So when birds sing, they're marking their territory, and they do a pretty good job of it, and those boundaries become fixed, and then the other birds respect those boundaries, and they don't have to waste as much energy as the season goes on. And it's kind of like the old saying, good fences make good neighbors. Oh, there's my neighbors. Howdy, neighbors.
Hi,
neighbor.
Just stay on your own side of the fence. So one day I was walking and I noticed a tree that had a lot of activity from this little bird called a nuthatch. And I looked up in the tree and saw there was a spot where the birds seemed to be entering the tree where a branch had broken off. And I realized that was a nesting pair there, so there were two nuthatches. Then I followed the male. As he made his rounds, he sang on the branches of trees in the park. And I just made a note as to where the nest was. So you can see it there between the two houses, way in the distance. So that I could map that spot later. I followed it over towards the playground, so there was another landmark I could use. And then I used Google Earth to put all the positions on the map. I started at the nest and went around to all the different trees. Might be bigger than that, but that's a pretty good guess. Later, I noticed another nesting pair in the roof line of a house. On another walk, I saw some nuthatches on the other side of the road, and they were flying off down the hill towards the river. So their nest is over in this area. So it seems like a natural boundary. Who knows how close they come. And then this is the final nuthatch nest, and that was in the roof line of the house. And I saw them this morning in basically this area. But what was interesting is another male was doing a courtship dance, fluttering its wings in the air. So this was probably a young male trying to attract a mate. This would be a possibility, or this would be a possibility.
We're going to discuss a little bit about the respiratory system and some of the findings that you can see on when evaluating using x-rays. Animal respiratory tracts are relatively similar. Mammals, including humans, dogs, horses, cows, hedgehogs, all have 2 lungs. Reptiles also have 2 lungs. Birds have 2 lungs, but they also have lungs that are connected to air sacs. These are large pockets where increased surface area can help with gas exchange. Birds also have hollow bones, and these hollow bones also serve the purpose for not only making them lighter so that birds can fly, but it also has gas exchange going on inside of those as well. So the bones are also considered a part of the respiratory tract in birds.
When assessing the lung field, we use a stethoscope. A stethoscope is able to listen to the lungs as well as the heart, both of which are located in the thorax. In most species, this is covered by the ribs. You want to go throughout the entire lung field with your stethoscope just to make sure you can listen for any crackles or wheezes. Animals that have problems can sometimes be presenting to you with coughing or labored breathing. In this case, Sassy's lungs are clear, and we use x-rays to also help determine the lung field. You can see the heart And the lungs are typically black, as this is the color that gas or air shows up in an X-ray. This is an X-ray where you cannot easily see the heart or the lungs, as there's a lot of white. White opacity in this pattern typically indicates fluid in the chest or nodules. In this case, there is evidence of both.
Let's just review some of the themes that we had this week. First of all, we learned about habitat and how birds use available resources in building their nests. That, again, that hollow spaces in trees are really important for animal habitat. We learned a lot about competition and how birds are very effective at dividing up the resources, and that evolution has selected them for singing their songs as a way of marking their territory. We learned about a woman who revolutionized the study of songbirds, the study of birds in general, by doing very detailed close-up studies and observations. We did our own study of territory of the nuthatch, and hopefully you saw that it really didn't take any specific tools or wasn't that difficult. It just takes close observation and some patience. And we got to spend some time with Dr. Pressman, who next week will be answering some of your questions. In the meantime, have a beautiful day.